baby.
We in here, yeah, we in here, 'cause we been.
Y'all better get comfortable with saying black.
We in here, yeah, we in here,
Black versus the Board of Education.
'cause we came here, three of us now. We in here, yeah, we in here, 'cause we came here, three of us now. And you know, and we know, and we go, because we been here.
That's why we are indeed a whole mood.
That's it.
And that's right. We are indeed a whole mood. Welcome back. It's another Monday here on Black versus the Board of Education. I am your hostess with the mostest. They call me Miss Laureen, and we welcome you into this space. I'm a little discombobulated, you guys.
Very discombobulated. I'm not gonna lie to
Because
you.
I wasn't sure what was going on for a minute. But I'm glad that y'all are here because we have a whole bunch to talk about. Melissa, can you hear us now?
Yes, I can hear you guys now.
Oh, perfect. Awesome. So why don't we just go ahead and get some introductions while we okay. I'm gonna start with Jalen because you're right here. Go ahead and introduce yourself, my love.
Hello, my name is Jalen. I am a college student, and like always, I'm excited about this episode.
Are you excited? I hope you
because
I
we
hope
got
you're
we got a
excited.
special guest.
All right, and we're gonna get to our special guest in just a moment. But Miss Keela, it's on you.
Hey, it's your girl Keela. My voice is gonna,
Keela been yelling this weekend.
yes, but I'm a college
Who
student.
was
and
you yelling at, Keela?
Everybody,
Oh,
ain't nothing new.
sometimes it's like that.
It's like that.
Okay. And you a college student?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Well, welcome to the party, Miss
Thank you.
Jada.
Hey y'all, my name is Jada. I'm a homeschooled senior here in the Sacramento area, and I'm glad to talk about what's happening today.
You don't even know what's happening, but we're going to get to that too. But Miss Melissa, go ahead and round us off. Say hey to the party.
Hi everyone. My name is Melissa. I am in 11th grade. I'm a high school junior in Southern California.
And I'm so glad y'all are here because look, there's so much going on, and I feel like I haven't seen y'all in years. And it's only been a couple of weeks, so we're gonna get to that. But before we get started, I have a few announcements to make. We gotta give a big happy birthday shout out to Miss Pam. Miss Pam is celebrating a milestone birthday, and I'm not gonna tell you exactly how old she is. Just know black don't crack. Yes,
Period.
yes.
Word.
Additionally, and I was looking for my air horn. Tevin is out today, but there's somebody over here with the air horn that's supposed to be blowing it. There you go. All right, so he woke up. So happy birthday, Miss Pam. Also, we spent the last part of the week at CABC, which is the California Association for Black School Educators, down in Carlsbad. I just have to give a shout out to the Honorable Denzel Perry,
The honorable.
who hung out with us in the advocacy team, Miss Lisa and Miss Exquisitive, all week as we delved into a lot of different workshops. And I am extremely excited about two of them who will be future partners of ours. One is Oliver Petty. His workshop was called By Any Means Necessary, and he really brought the funk. Also, there's this program out there called Schoolyard Rap, and they did Black history but in rap music, and they have they're touring around California coming up, and we're gonna do a pre-Black history turn up, if you will.
Kind of dope.
And we'll be releasing details about that soon. But I am so excited, y'all. He had this history song called Black Made That. He was talking about a whole bunch of Black inventors. And then he was talking about the greatness of Black women, and it was just dope. So shout out to Schoolyard Rap. Also, y'all, Friday. What's happening Friday? What we doing Friday?
Friday is the Black Panther Wakanda Forever screening. Oh, I'm so excited. So many people have been posting on TikTok talking about how emotional they were.
Oh,
I'm a
man.
little nervous.
Oh man.
What you nervous about?
You
Just
watched it?
the feeling of it all. I just like not seeing Chadwick like be in his role anymore. It's gonna be really emotional for me.
I'm just
Yes.
mad Killmonger not back.
I'm not gonna lie.
Can I just see him?
Look,
I
watched
just
it.
want to see the little dots on the skin or something.
I watched it, and
Not the
it
spoilers.
was it was a lot.
It was
a lot.
It was a lot.
That's all you
Okay.
gotta say.
Okay.
That's all I can say.
So,
word.
Melissa, have you seen it yet? Have you had a chance?
Yeah, I saw it the day it came out.
Dang, all y'all
Well,
fake.
excuse all of y'all who went and saw it. We were at a conference By the time it was over, I was ready to go to bed.
Man.
So I have not watched it, but I look forward to seeing it Friday. And then can we come back and talk about it? Can we?
Oh,
Can we do
Yes, I
that?
would love
Yeah,
to.
I'm not gonna lie, we look you have
Okay.
to.
How about next week? Can we talk about it next week?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Let's wait. What? You said, ooh, what happened?
I might be out of town next week. We can talk about that later.
Yo, you said ooh like you was E40 or something. Did you hear it?
That was good.
So if you want to go with Team BYLP to check out Wakanda Forever this Friday, check us out. The tickets are available now on our website, bylp.org. It starts at 6 p.m. They are absolutely free 99. I said free, not free 99. So go ahead and copy your tickets. We'd love to see you. And that's going to take us. We did not get a chance to talk about camp.
No, we didn't.
So
Yeah.
we apologize. Last week we were out because we had returned from camp on that Sunday and everybody was
And
tired.
20-degree weather.
20-degree weather. I mean,
Snow.
Nah,
It was fun.
y'all was okay.
It was fun.
I was okay for real.
I was freezing.
I was the coziest at all my cabins.
So tell me something. What was one of your takeaways from camp? What's something that you want everybody to know about? Tell me something.
I would say the community, I guess. There were a lot of new kids that had came this camping trip. I was nervous at first because there were a lot of new people and I didn't, being around non-familiar people and I got to make new friends, et cetera, et cetera. But I would say one of my takeaways was being able to make new friends and to build a community. I feel like the group this year was really connected in some way. They really looked like they were involved, especially at
Now
the
you say this year like we wasn't up there in May. So you talking
right,
about
right,
this
right.
iteration.
This iteration.
Hacked 3.
Hackerwoods 3, the group of Hackerwoods 3 was really, at least my group, because we separate off into our trail groups, but I feel like my group seemed really connected, especially at the mock trial when they were like, how do I be a part of this? How do I be a part of that? It was a little moving for me, and I was like, because it's kind of cool to see Black youth that are other than me or my friends who want to be involved in stuff like this. So.
Oh, cool. What about you, Keela? What you think?
I didn't know what to expect. It was my first one, so kind of like what you were saying, the community and like the youth and everything. My little brother went and he had the time of his life. He won't stop talking about it. So
Really?
yeah,
He
first
wasn't talking very much.
exactly. But then I kept pressing him about it, and I was like, "Look," and he was like, "Yeah, I had fun." He still talks to his friend. He
Very
like plays
nice.
games with him. So clearly, he had a good time. And he's shy, so
Oh,
it was good for me to see that. So
awesome. So that's that good intentional
right.
community building. What about you, Jalen? What would you say? Because you took your siblings. Your siblings was in
yeah.
the building.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
Lil bro and Lil Sis was in the building. Lil Sis actually came with Tevin's younger sister, which actually
What?
I found out the day before camp they best friends. So I was like,
Oh, they
snap.
besties.
I said, look how small the world is.
Wow.
No,
So then, but my one takeaway I had was seeing kids get out of their element
Yeah.
was great because a lot of people don't experience that type of atmosphere or like snow for the first time. Oh, them kids. Oh, when they seen snow for the first time,
my
all they want to do
gosh.
is throw snowballs. All they want to do is throw snowballs. And,
What-
and we let them because, we don't know when they're ever going to get that opportunity again. Hopefully they do. But, I know I seen snow for the first time at like 17. So I'm
Yeah.
like, okay.
Really?
Yeah, I
Really?
was 17.
I was
So I'm like,
7.
oh, snowball? And I'm thinking, you just throwing snowballs. So that's all they wanted to do is throw snowballs.
they
just
built
be
kids.
they built a
Yeah.
snowman named
Yeah.
George.
It was hecka big. I was
So
like,
that was my takeaway.
Okay. My takeaways are a little bit different.
Oh.
Only because I get to see things in a bigger scale. What I would say is that our young people are very distrusting of adults.
For sure.
Oh yeah.
What I've seen is that so many of them have been let down or shut down, and they didn't feel like they had anything really to contribute. So being able to open up the dialogue even after the mock trial and talk about different things was really dope.
Yeah.
The third session for
My
me,
session.
I was ready to cut some kids out. I'm not gonna lie to y'all.
It was
Because and I say that in love, because it was very, very frustrating because the amount of disrespect that I saw, the amount of kids wanting to argue when they don't know a whole lot about a whole lot, they know a little bit about a little bit, and just trying to explain to them that, holler at me when you become an adult and you start to experience these things that are going to kind of change your trajectory.
Right.
They saw it more so as me talking down to them instead of giving them advice. And then it was funny because I went to the restroom after the session, and these young girls, they were out there, they was talking slick about me, and they didn't realize I was in the bathroom.
Your first mistake.
And so I remember I came out and I was like, no, keep talking. Tell me more. Because see, I'm all for debate, but what I'm not going to do is argue with children. I don't do that. And I'm like, well, it sounded like you had something you wanted to say. So let's have a conversation about it. And of course, one of them hightailed it out the bathroom really, really quick because they thought they were in trouble. But that was a teaching moment. And I can just about imagine if it had been a different adult than me, the way in which they may have come across to that young person instead of trying to understand what it is that they were saying. And I'll listen, but that don't mean you're not wrong. Right.
Mhm.
And so we
Right.
have to be able to have those conversations in love to where we encourage young people to talk to us, but then we can kind of correct that behavior because of what I told that third session. You was in there. I
was
said,
in
now,
there.
if this is how y'all respond in your classrooms, I understand why some of y'all are struggling. There were a lot of young people who didn't understand why it was not okay to talk to me cussing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. There was
that was
something
crazy.
like
And
that. Yeah.
and the craziest thing was she was like, step one of a mock trial, the jury does not talk.
And what they do?
And
Talking.
they threw so many F-bombs, and I'm like, I'm not gonna catch too many more of your F-bombs, right? And so it's just we have to hold ourselves to a higher standard when we want other people to take us serious about what we're saying. We can't come at them in a disrespectful way. We have to be smart enough with our arguments and our logic to really have an open dialogue. And so that was one of my takeaways. Some folks just haven't taught these young people how to communicate appropriately.
No, yeah.
And so having that opportunity to talk to them, and they may have been mad. They was mad over there though. You know what I mean?
Ooh,
They
They
may
was-
have been mad.
ooh, they was mad.
And I'm okay with kids being mad as long as it gets them to think. Think
Yeah.
about what you're saying and how you want people to respond to that. But a highlight of Camp Hack the Woods 3 was the mindfulness training.
Ooh,
Yeah, that was great.
And so he is one of the facilitators is actually joining us today. If you could pull Joaquin up,
We call him Mr. Mindfulness.
Mr.
Do we?
Mindfulness.
We're gonna start.
And there is a whole what is that, a square on my face? And I guess I'll pull him up since everybody's asleep at the wheel. Hey, Joaquin.
Hey.
So go
How's it
ahead and we're good. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name is Joaquin, and I'm a college student too. I'm an old college student, but yeah, I'm a college student.
Hey, it's never too late to go back.
It is true because black don't crack.
Come
So,
on.
yeah, and I guess I do have a new nickname now, Mr. Mindfulness. This is the first I've heard of it.
Hey,
But
hey, just
I like
I'll
Mr.
roll with
Stick
it.
better.
you said what?
I like Mr. Stick better.
Oh, they want to call you Mr. Stick.
I like it
Ah,
better.
Mr.
Mr. Mindfulness.
Mr. Mindfulness
Okay.
is
Him.
So, yeah, formerly a social impact consultant and a certified drug counselor. So, yeah, my days are pretty busy, traveling back and forth from the state. But I like my job. It's interesting. I meet a lot of nice people and interesting people, and I like to believe that I do good work. So
All right.
I am happy with my life as it is right now.
Okay. And so for everybody who doesn't know, we actually had a chance to meet Joaquin and his team in Long Beach at a conference. And I did not attend their session because I was in a whole nother session and I regret that day. But we knew that there was going to be an opportunity for us to collaborate at some point. And so I am absolutely ecstatic to have you here and to even talk about this journey that you've been on. So can you kind of walk us through, who are you?
Who am I?
Who are
Well, I'm formerly incarcerated. I spent over 31 years in various correctional institutions, adult and juvenile. I'm in recovery, and I am committed to serving my community. And one of the reasons why I like interacting with BYOP is I like being with my people. For so long, I have been literally and figuratively the minority in many settings. So to be able to interact with people who look like me, who think like me, and not echo chamber thinking, but think like me, and the fact that wanting the best for our community and seeing young people of color, like that's the one thing that was my takeaway from the Hack the Woods was seeing so many smart kids on such a good path. Because a lot of my work is with juveniles who are justice involved. And so just seeing kids, adolescents be adolescents, without all the extra stuff that, many kids struggle with, it was really encouraging. So yeah, I like that. I like that about your organization. I like the support that you offer, the advocacy, but I just like the way that you hold space for Black youth. That is super powerful and very much needed. And it is a wonderful thing to bear witness to. So,
Well, we thank you. I mean, I think that's dope, because a lot of times there are people in our community who don't understand why we're very, very specific about Black children. And the fact of the matter is they're at the bottom of every category, most times except discipline. And so when we're talking about being intentional and making sure we're putting the right pieces in place to actually serve these students, can you talk to us about mindfulness? How did you get into mindfulness coaching or facilitating groups?
well, so that's like three different questions almost in one.
Okay, well,
Three
break
different
it down.
answers. Um, my introduction to mindfulness came through therapy. And from that, I started a yoga practice. And I was in prison at the time. So I don't know how many people have ever watched like Shawshank Redemption or other prison movies. But, I was on a maximum security yard, doing yoga and practicing mindfulness, like by myself in a little corner of the yard. But it really helped me come to grips with the finality of my prison term at the time. At the time, I had a life sentence. And so I had to prepare myself for the possibility that I would die in prison. And a big part of that was really kind of wrapping my mind around that. And mindfulness allowed me to be very deliberate and intentional and hold space for right now. Because like with a life sentence, it's easy, our brains like to time travel. And so it is easy to get caught up in the past with regret, but it's also easy to be frustrated and anxiety ridden with thoughts of the future. And when you're serving a life sentence, like that's horrible. Like you'll literally go crazy. So what I found was I could only do one day of my sentence at a time. Although I had a lot of time to do, I can only do one day of it. And being mindful, like being present in the moment, and most importantly, in a non-judgmental manner, was the key to allowing me to live as fully as possible where I was. And so that's why I'm a huge proponent of it, because many times we're so caught up in the future that we lose sight of what's going on right now. And it becomes impossible to enjoy really good and productive moments, but it's also even difficult to be present in the moment when it requires your full attention, in particular if you're in conflict or you're in a situation where your future depends on you making a really good choice in that moment. So I think as far as promoting this, and I would dare say proselytizing for the youth, it is an absolute critical skill for all youth, but in particular our Black youth, to have the ability to be really good stewards and owners of their own mind, because so much of the world is committed to hijacking young minds and discounting a person's ability to think for themselves. So having this skill and this capacity to be a steward of one's own consciousness and regulate oneself and not be so easily moved around, because one of the things I learned in prison was if you're off balance, you're easy to move around. Whether it's racial politics or politics with cops, if you're not rooted and grounded and regulated, they just move you around. And I think a lot of people see that every day, but they're not really, no pun intended, mindful of it. They don't see how their mental or emotional imbalance allows them to be manipulated or exploited. So for me, as far as teaching this critical skill, it's essential, whether it's being stopped by law enforcement, right? The ability to be present, to be conscious, to not be triggered or tricked into acting out is super important. Whether you're dealing with a teacher, who may be also having a bad day, what I realized for a lot of our kiddos, they don't have the luxury of a bad day in a classroom. They have a bad day in a classroom, they're going to detention, at best, or they're being expelled. So one of the things I really like to promote is this is a way for individuals to have a bad day, but still do what they need to do. And I think that's a critical skill that we need to have, especially in this time, because it's such a critical time. And there's so many different influences pulling at people from many different directions. We must have the ability to stay anchored and rooted in a reality that's going to allow us to move forward, but also take care of our future self. So,
I mean, you dropped a bunch of gems in that
Damn.
little statement. Like,
Word.
whoa, if you're off balance, you're easy to move. Ooh. Melissa, talk to me. What are you thinking right now?
I'm thinking a lot, and I feel like this is the mentality that so many people need. This is a mentality that humankind in general needs, and especially like you said, Joaquin, especially teachers, and especially the students as well, you mentioned, but I think the teachers also, because like you said, as a student, you don't have the luxury to have a bad day in school, which isn't fair. And I feel like with this mindset, you're able to, like you said, have a bad day and still know how to function. And I feel like the students who don't have that, we also need teachers that know that and that have this mentality as well, because it can't be one way. It has to be both ways. I feel like this is a mindset that everyone should have. And I commend you for being able to teach yourself this in a not so good situation that you were in. You're able to teach yourself this and ground yourself and come out of it.
so thank you. Yeah.
I mean, Keela, because we went through the training.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, the training was crazy.
Yeah, it was.
Like,
Crazy?
just I didn't know what to expect, honestly. I mean, that's what I'm saying. And then, like, because we had 2 days, or like part 1, part 2, and like part 2 was a lot.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
Talk about
And I mean, but you have to paint the picture for people who weren't here.
Yeah. So basically, like, we had to like all teach each other a lesson and all this stuff. And I even think it was like one of the last ones, and it was like compassion and like all this stuff. And you had to like meditate and like take a step back and everything. And I think once you're like in your own mind, it's a lot. And I feel like you have to like take a breath, take a second to like realize everything you're kind of doing. And I did that, and I got emotional. And I think ever since then, kind of like I've been breathing and like all this stuff. Like, I'm naturally loud. So I'm just like, hold on, take a breath, chill out. Like, but yeah, it's crazy.
She calls it crazy, but I think it's the ability to be vulnerable, but present.
Definitely.
And what I saw in that day that you're speaking of was you saw a lot of walls come down, and then you saw the ability of folks to kind of rally around you and to hold you up when maybe you were feeling weak because of whatever was you were carrying around. Because what I think is a lot of us are carrying around a lot of things, and it only takes one thing, one split second for somebody to trigger you or say something that brings back a memory that maybe you haven't completely dealt with. And I believe that one that you're talking about, shout out to Tevin, like I was telling y'all, he made all the girls cry.
For real.
The meditation he decided to do was basically you were speaking to someone, I want to say who had maybe passed on.
Yeah,
It could be a living or past.
Yeah.
Okay. And somebody that maybe you didn't have closure, or you maybe wanted to say something else to. And what you saw was this. Well, first of all, you heard it.
Yeah.
You heard people start to do things, and you kind of, you're supposed to have your eyes closed, but you trying to like, who is that?
But Tevin's a goofball, so it's like no one took him seriously. I looked him dead in his eyes. I was like, "Fool, what are you doing right now?"
Because he started laughing at the beginning. I was like, "Oh," and I looked.
Was it the bell?
No,
it was everything.
It was the bell, and then his voice. He was just like he had like that laughing voice that he was still like not serious. And then I opened my eyes. I looked at him. I was like, "You're not gonna do this right now." And then he mellowed out. And then once he started mellowing out, everything started to disappear. And it was
like you literally heard his voice through and through.
Yeah,
and it was like you kind of were still listening, but it was like now you're kind of in your head, and then it's like you're kind of letting everything
come to the surface.
Yes. So it was a lot.
The one thing that I loved about the training is that I'm a person whose mind races all the time, just different thoughts. But that taught me that as long as you focus on one single thing, you don't have room to focus on all the other things that's going on around you. So that was the one thing. And it was just like once I figured that out, I was like, if I can focus on one thing as in not think about other things, I don't have time to think about anything. Like I love to practice like in the flow. I love to say that the practice of being in the flow where time stops, it feels like for me, where I'm able to just focus on whatever I need to do. If I need to do an assignment, I'm in the flow. I don't even think about my phone. I don't think about what I'm going to eat. I don't think about who's texting me. I'm just thinking about my assignment. So
now Jada hasn't gone. You went through the session at camp.
Yeah.
So
peers and accomplices.
Peers and accomplices.
That was so good.
And y'all had the nerve to bring money.
Yeah, they did.
What was that about?
You gotta focus,
So here's my position.
He did put up. He did make. Yeah, he did.
So I love my jobs, right? Like, but to quote Maya Angelou, I don't have a dream job because I don't want to dream about labor, right? But I do enjoy my job, but I get paid, right? And so I like to honor people's time, right? And I am not from that school that says kids need to show up and be seen and not heard, and they just need to do what you want them to do, what they're expected. So I don't support that. I think kids are just smaller versions of human beings, and their time is just as valuable. And I'm all about creating incentives and motivating people. And when I see a kid who's not motivated by money, then we have a problem. So for me, if I want mass participation from a diverse group of people, right, the easiest way to do that is to incentivize participation with a little bit of cheddar. And
it wasn't even like no $20 neither. It was like 100, and you split it. I was like 100.
He said,
"We got this."
Did you win some money?
No,
but it worked, right? Like people were engaged, they were authentic, they put forth their best effort, and the secondary gain of that is it's a low-key way to teach work ethic, right? And so I think that's another important thing. Like, I'm never going to pass up an organic opportunity to teach a young person something that's important, which is if someone's going to pay you, they want the best out of you. So for me, it's like I'm always looking at the different levels in which something can have an impact on someone's life. So yes, $100 to a 15-year-old split down the middle is a lot of money. Yes, that's a lot of money. That's one thing. But also, we're providing an opportunity for them to be engaged in a way that is authentic and meaningful, and they can take that with them, right? And when they know, like, I paid up, you did the work, you got paid, right? So they need to see what that looks like. Because for years I got birthday money that I never saw. I still need to call my mom about some of that birthday
Let me
money
hold that for you. Let me hold that for you so you don't
I
lose it.
never got.
Man, don't do
So,
that.
like, I want to make sure you get what you have coming. So it's important for me to be able to kind of do that with kids. And in the end, it's just money.
You're
It's
right.
make believe
just money.
anyway.
And somebody could have slid some of that my way. I'm just saying. But Jada, you went through the workshop at camp. Talk to me.
Honestly, when it first started, I thought we were like doing meditation because that's what I heard. A bunch of kids are like, "Oh, I don't want to meditate," and I'm like, I don't know what it is. So, when we first got there, I think he had that like bowl, and he was like, "Ding," and then went around, and I was just kind of like, okay, like honestly, those dings put little tingles. It was just like, okay, yeah, I can fall asleep to this. And then he had us all split up into our groups, or I think 2 or 3, depending on the amount of people that were there, and I think the person who won, the people who won in our group, it was Johanna and Anaya. They won, and I think they did great. They deserved it, in my opinion. I think Keela was there. She was there. I think they deserved it. They did it.
They did what?
They so but you, what you're supposed to do was you're supposed to, one person was supposed to be the
dog mind.
Yes.
The accomplice?
Oh no, the accomplice and
the
friend.
accomplice and the friend. So the accomplice is somebody who the difference between a friend and an accomplice, a friend is always going to have your best interest at heart. And an accomplice is kind of your writer, like, get into trouble, what benefits them. And so you had 2 people, one friend, one accomplice, and you had to act it out. And whoever had the best kind of like example got the $100. And the people who won it, they deserved it. It was funny. I liked when it wasn't just all serious. It was also little giggles and stuff. Yeah. So
okay. Do you think that you took anything away? Did you learn something?
Honestly, yes. What I learned from it made me kind of look into my own friends and my own friend group. Because I know that I will surround myself with a lot of people, but this kind of helped me realize that sometimes the people you surround yourself with, you probably shouldn't. If you really take a good look at their character and how they're present in your life, are they just there when it benefits them, or are they always going to keep it straight with you, good or bad? A little rider never hurt, but also someone who can always be honest with you. It's important because sometimes I want to be told what I'm doing wrong so that I can better myself.
Okay.
And then also the one thing that I took away from that was he said that a friend can be an accomplice.
Oh yeah,
I was
he
just gonna
did.
say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Said a friend can be an accomplice and vice versa.
At times. So you
Just
your
certain
true friend
situations,
can
yeah.
have accomplice activities.
Oh,
Okay. Yeah.
accomplice activity.
Yeah, like like
What you say, Joaquin?
No, I'm laughing. Because he's
That's the way
right.
to put it, though. I mean,
that was.
So what? I mean, give me an example. What do you mean?
For me personally, based on the way I took that, it's like me and my best friend Vea, right? She can always be honest with me 100% all the time. She, good or bad, she'll always give her opinion, and she always wants the best for me, and that's what I love about her. But she also, like, if I'm ready to like do something, she'll be there. If she thinks that it's a good idea, like I'm never doing something alone. Basically, that's how I took it.
So what I just heard you say was that she wants the best for you, but if you ready to cut up, she ready to cut up.
Not like that. Not like that.
I got you with this.
Melissa, is that what you heard, Melissa?
No, that's not what I heard.
Okay.
I think because a friend wants what's best for you, an accomplice doesn't. Accomplice wants what's best for them. And if what's best for you is something that your friend can get behind and is going to, because an accomplice can, if it's something that's not going to be good for you and you're going to go and do it, they're going to go and do it with you, even though it isn't going to be good for you. Now, if it's a friend and you're doing something and that can be good for you, your friend is going to be able to do that with you. And that is,
I don't think I was listening.
Man, let me give you. Man, let me give you.
Go ahead.
Okay, Jalen.
Because
Jalen,
go ahead, Jalen.
Wait, Jalen. First of all, did I translate that?
You translate that perfectly.
Okay,
I'm
that's
not
what I
gonna
thought
lie.
I heard.
If
Okay.
that basically, she said, if he gonna cut up, I'm gonna cut up.
That's
basically
not
she
what
said.
that means. I'm saying I'm never going to have to
Why
go
you
through
yelling at
something
us?
alone because y'all sounded
I know I touched the
y'all
nerve
sounded
right
like
there.
I'm opposing. I'm
we need to
serious.
breathe.
We need to
Stick.
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 And
Stop.
move.
Think.
So
Okay.
let me tell you how a friend could be an accomplice at times. So
Okay.
say I have to do my homework.
Uh-huh.
My friend Isaiah is like, hey, go play the game with me. I'm like, I can't. I have homework. He's like, man, you can do your homework any other time of the day. I'm like, I really got to do this homework. He's like, man, get on the game. He's looking at himself. He's like, I want to play the game with him. I don't care that he already has homework already due. It's all about what I want. That's
an accomplice.
I know that's a
But-
friend
No, but
acting
that's
as
a
a conflict.
friend
Because he's saying that's
acting
his
as
real
an
friend.
accomplice.
That's my dog. But in that moment, he was acting self-interested because
Oh.
I need to do my homework.
And it benefited him.
Oh, no, I was listening.
Okay, but that's not how I don't know. That's just not how I took it.
And so y'all saying
So there's no, I think both of those examples of good, because like that whole thing about friends can be accomplices. The most important piece is there's aspects of each in both,
Yeah.
right? And part of using mindfulness is being able to pull those two apart sometimes, because your really good friend can have a weak moment and show up as an accomplice one day.
It's understandable.
You know, so, and it's not that you're just going to throw that person away. These are those times where you can like really ask those critical questions, like, okay, you know, what else is going on here? You know, so this person has my best interest at heart, you know, but today, right, like they would the shenanigans. So what's happening? But you know, absolutely, because yeah, for me, when I realized when I was engaged in a lot of criminal activity, I had accomplices who were loyal, they were faithful, they would tear stuff up if something was going on with me, but they weren't concerned with moving me forward in a productive and constructive manner because they didn't have that capacity themselves, right? So they loved me and I loved them, but it was an accomplice relationship. And so many times what we have to figure out is like, how do we move each other forward in a way that serves us over time and is in the best interest of our future, especially if we're children. And so being able to kind of make that determination with our peer group is super important, because it just takes one bad decision at one time with a friend, with a peer, and your life has changed forever.
100%.
So I think like that's why I really love that session, is because, you know, between the ages of like 13 and 19, the strongest drive in adolescence is identity and affiliation and peer groups. So it's super important for a kiddo or a teenager to kind of be able to figure out if this person's a really good fit for them or just fun, right? So that's like really, really critical information to have, especially in this time, you know, because you can have lots of people that are fun, but are you always getting in trouble? Like, what's the cost of that fun? And what type of fun is it?
And another reason why I appreciated your session was, like I had said, it also made me kind of take a look into my own friend group, but it also helped me realize, I guess, how I moved forward. I started surrounding myself with different people, or the people I used to surround myself with, I no longer did. And your session kind of made me put into perspective why I did it. Like, sometimes I'm just like, yeah, I just feel like I can't be around them right now because they're not, you know, we're not moving in the same path. But with your session, it helped me realize it's not that we weren't moving in the same path in a way. It's just that I recognized that they were holding me back and I needed to push forward. And I wanted to bring you along with me, but you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. If you don't want to come with me, I'm not going to stay behind with you. I just got to keep going. And your session kind of helped me realize that.
That's good, Jada.
Snap it out. Snap it out.
Even one of these girls in my trail group, she was, I think, 30 or 31. She was even telling me that, like,
Girl, that's a woman.
She
said one of the
girls. This woman,
Yeah,
she's
there we
like
go.
30, 31 in my
Whoa.
trail group. You know,
That's
how
a whole
I
woman.
know, but-
Hey, don't do that. Hey,
Okay,
don't do
okay.
that.
But this woman, she was like 30, 31 in my trail group. She was the leader from the camp. And she was even talking to me like after the session was over, because we were heading over to the obstacle course that we did. And she was even like, I think I got accomplices in my life right now. Like,
Yeah.
and I was just like, girl, what? Or woman, what? I was like, dang. But yeah, she was even like talking to me about it, because I was walking with her and I was like, yeah, that's just crazy. She's grown and she's still having these.
But that's the thing. But that's the thing. Why do you think that age determines whether or not you have friends or accomplices? Are you saying that adults or older adults should know better, or what?
I mean,
why would that
Okay,
be?
that's basically what you're
I
saying.
think for me,
Why would you think that if they've never assessed the people in their life, or they don't have the skill set and they've never had to they just didn't know the difference, right?
Yeah.
So why would the assumption, is it just because they're older?
Yeah, because you know how
Okay.
a lot of adults like to not flaunt to be like rude, but I'm just, they like to flaunt like I've had experience, like,
Mhm.
I have more maturity because I've experienced a lot more. And so I would expect that you would like, I guess, understand your accomplices from your friends. With age comes knowledge, etc., etc. So that would just be my assumption.
Well, I think that there are different arenas or different areas where you would have so-called friends. So, for
Mhm.
example, when I was at the Capitol, I had my Capitol friends, right?
Right.
But those are not always the friends that you would see me having dinner with, traveling with,
Right.
having deep conversations with, because they were at work, right?
Mhm.
And so I think that when we start to kind of try to assume different things, like I can't tell you of one accomplice that I have in my life, right? But that isn't because I knew the difference. Is because when you start to go into different arenas or places, you have to change your surroundings and the folks that everybody can't come with you.
Right.
You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah.
And I understand. I loved your example because I think that I had to figure that out a long time ago. Like everybody can't come. Like I can't drag you. I can't make you.
Mhm.
That does not mean I can't love you from a distance, and that
Mhm.
does not mean I don't consider you my friend. It's just in this season of my life, uh we just gonna go over here and you gonna stay right where you are, right? And
Like
so I think assuming that they knew the definitions
Mhm.
of what it is that you all learned right now at this age, which is an incredible thing that you
It
learned it
is.
now. But say that this person had never been exposed to this type of information,
Yeah.
Mhm.
right? And people can only be responsible for what they know.
Yeah.
Unless it's, ignorance is no excuse in, when you're dealing with the police. But I'm just saying, there are some things that people just don't know,
Mhm.
and I'm so excited to partner with a continuity consultant and Joaquin and his group, because there are things even at my grown age, because I'm super grown, that I'm learning. I am. I am. Y'all don't see this cape under this jacket, honey? Yes. Because I ain't that 30-year-old girl she was talking about.
So the girl.
I just feel like for me, like even before like everything, I feel like I kind of knew maybe not what exactly an accomplice was, but I definitely
Right.
don't have any of those in my life.
Hmm.
And I'm about to be 23. And it maybe just who I am and like, or whatever.
Mhm.
But like kind of like what you were saying, I have different friends for different things, quote
Uh-huh.
unquote. So I know who to surround myself with.
Yeah.
And shout out to Miss Tawana. She say age isn't an automatic sign of maturity.
Man,
No,
tell 'em,
yeah.
man.
Tell him. No,
Tell
yeah.
'em.
But that does not mean that
Mhm.
people with age don't have more life experiences than
That's
you
Right.
do as children
true.
or
Facts.
young adults.
that doesn't mean they
right? But that
mature
does
from
not
them.
mean that they're mature.
Right.
So straight up.
Yeah.
And
Word.
I think that again, when you know better, you do better.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
And so I'm so excited that y'all are learning it right now, because these are not I would say conversations that we had when we were your age.
Mhm.
We just out here trying to survive.
Yeah.
We trying to figure out our lives. We trying to figure out where we going to work, how we going to get through these college classes and not be subject to credit card lenders and all these people giving you onslaught of information, and then you're dealing with life, life and all the problems that are associated with that. Some people had children trying to go through college. Some
Mhm.
people had to figure out how to make ends meet, work 2 jobs. I was working 2 jobs. And going to school full time, right? And so I just think that we're in such a different time right now. Not that those things don't exist anymore, but the world didn't shut down for 2 years when we were coming up.
Right.
Oh,
That was
crazy.
something that happened with
ridiculous.
y'all.
Mhm.
And there has been different things coming up since that time happened.
Yeah.
And what we're seeing on school campuses all across is there's a lot of frustration, and nobody has the tools or the skills that are being taught to them. And that is why what Joaquin does is so incredibly important, because I just came from the district office. This is like my 4th extension to suspension meeting in a week. Same incident, Black boys. Nobody had the tools to de-escalate themselves, and what you saw was an incident that involved multiple boys jumping on one.
Hmm.
Now, we can argue the merits of why they jumped on the one. However, if they had these skills that Joaquin is talking about, um, I think that we could have had young people that made different choices
Definitely.
so that I didn't have to be up in there trying to figure out how we was going to stop them from um, trying to actually um, ruin their future over one incident. We don't need that, right?
Right.
And so, Joaquin, how can we get this program or these services into schools, because they're sorely needed, and you
Mhm.
got a bunch of people on staff who can't find their um, foot from their behind, who don't have these skills that you're speaking of. How can we encourage or get this training into the schools?
Well, I think your agency is perfectly positioned to do that because you already have an existing relationship with the school and you have access to funding through us to
Funding?
staff those. Huh?
I was just saying, come on,
Oh.
funding.
You said what?
To staff and operate those programs. So because for us, like it is, how do we help you do what you already do, right? And because all of your team has been trained, then you already have a really good cohesive unit that works well together, trained, and with more support, you can deliver this to teachers as well as students. Because what I like to do is when I go into an agency that serves clients or that serves system impacted individuals, I want to make sure that all the staff have gone through the same training so that they can call out specific skills from those who participated. Because it's when one person has some information and the other one doesn't, there's a disconnect. And many times we will prescribe a intervention to a kid and expect this person to integrate that information into their life, but they're never given an opportunity for someone to call it out of them. So if you look at a situation where if the teacher was also familiar with the curriculum and understood it and had a practice, then in those situations where people are becoming dysregulated, then the teacher has a common language that they can use to call out a desired behavior or support that student in a way that is meaningful and compassionate and supportive. And so Keela said something that was super powerful earlier about like the group being a space where she was vulnerable. And I think that's something that most kiddos and teenagers don't think they have permission to do except when there's a tragedy. Like, I'm looking at the stuff online about Takeoff's death, his murder, and you see all these people who have these really tough personas now have permission to be soft and vulnerable and grieve, right? But why is it only appropriate in the face of tragedy, right? Like, why is it only cool for me to be sad when someone is transitioning off this planet? How do we create spaces where Black boys who are going to be Black men, hopefully, have permission to be vulnerable and to be sad or to be soft, or Black girls who are going to be Black women have permission to be vulnerable and sad and not be exploited?
Yeah.
So, I think that is what, like, when I think about mindfulness in our community, it is this repositioning and rethinking of what masculinity and femininity looks like. I think if we can move towards a wholeness that is rooted around our humanity, but responsive to our past, like that's a powerful thing for us to use and to propel ourselves forward. Because like the reality is that this place wasn't built for us. We built it, but it wasn't built for us.
Come on.
And so we have to figure out how we are going to exist in it and thrive despite it, right? And all that requires us to be balanced,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
Right. Like at the end, it all comes back to that inner balance. Because if you have that inner balance, you are immovable,
Mm.
right?
Say that again. Say it again.
Right. If you have that inner balance, you're immovable. They can't move you
Take notes. Take notes.
because you own the space between your ears. Like nobody else owns that but you.
That's right. Melissa says she had something to say. So talk to us, Melissa.
Yeah, I really liked what you were saying about kids and teens not having the space to be vulnerable and feel like they're safe and able to be vulnerable. And I would say that I think it's also the same for a lot of adults. Even like what Keela was talking about with the lady who, when they were walking back, who was really in touch with the conversation and with the mindfulness session. I feel like there's also that space is needed for adults, and especially the Black adults who grew up as Black kids whose emotions were suppressed and they had to be suppressed, like Miss Lorraine said, for survival. They weren't thinking about having to be in touch with their emotions. So I feel like Miss Lorraine was saying, we can't assume that these adults are able to differentiate a friend from an accomplice like that conversation was helping them to do. So we can't assume that they're in touch with their feelings as well, which is something that you were saying the kids and the teens need that space. And I feel like the adults would also need that space too. So I really liked what you were saying about having a safe space for vulnerability in general.
I love it. I love it. Excuse me. And I think that with so much continuing to go on, we're going to need more skills in our toolbox. And I just have to say I woke up this morning to the report out of the University of Virginia where the three young men were shot by a teammate and ultimately succumbed to their injuries. And we're talking about Black young men, their lives taken by another Black young man. And the amount of trauma for everybody who was on that bus, the amount of, I don't know what this individual was going through, but obviously he did not have the skills to regulate himself. I don't know what made him so angry that he would come in and kill three of his teammates. And I'm not going to even make this about him. What my thoughts are of is it's not just the victims, it's everybody connected to the victims. So I'm thinking of their friends, I'm thinking about their other teammates, I'm thinking about the coaching staff, I'm thinking about their families at home who sent their young men off to college thinking that they would come back with a degree, not in a body bag, right? And so when we're talking about regulating our emotions and we're talking about the frustrations that we're seeing across this country on campuses, and we're seeing the administrators do the same things over and over again, expecting different results. What is that to do the same thing over and expect different results?
Insanity.
It's insanity. And so we have to make sure that people understand that there are resources and programs out there to help them with things that they might not know about, things that they're not prepared to deal with. It's not often that you see a Black school shooter, but we do know about crimes about proximity, right? Crimes in proximity. Only time that I hear about crimes of proximity is when it's talking about Black people and Black on Black crime. Crimes of proximity are the people that you're normally around. So he obviously had a relationship with these people, and so I'm just heartsick over it, because as an agency that goes into schools that fights specifically for Black young people, to have this go on, and then to see and read comments about, oh, nobody's gonna say anything because the shooter is Black. Like, it's like, come on, man. At the end of the day, we have to start being concerned about people. We're going to have to exhibit more compassion. We're going to have to make sure that people are getting the services they need to regulate their system. Because as I'm looking and as I'm seeing it, people are out of control.
Okay.
People are out of control. And the only way we get them in control is we make sure they have access to people like Joaquin and Continuity Consultant, that they have access to people here at Black Youth Leadership Project, as we are all certified facilitators of the mindfulness training, and that we do everything we can in the way that we can to leave this community better than we found it. And that's where my heart is. That's what I'm hoping that my team sees when they see us out here constantly grinding. And I'm hoping that, you guys understand the importance of you stepping into this role, right? I ain't going to be around forever. Somebody going to have to do this work. I'm looking at my child as she looking around the room. Somebody's going to have to take over this work. And we can't all do this if we're not regulated in ourselves. So, Joaquin, we thank you for even bringing this to us, for making sure we got connected. Shout out to Miss Lisa, and Keith, and Miss Brittany. We could not have gotten to this point without you, but we are better because of you. And I want to say thank you in front of everybody. Just in case I've never told you that before, and you're supposed to be here so that we could go to dinner after this, but you are wherever you're at.
Loser.
Look at Jada looking at me
Yeah.
with the side eye.
Major side eye, because you know,
Man, that was horrible.
last week he canceled on us. Is just because his auntie was about to get him if he didn't go have dinner with her. So
She was gonna murder me. It was gonna be black on black crime.
What's your excuse now?
He had him some Kool-Aid and he was cool. Uh-oh. After that, he went over to Fixin'. Shout out to Fixin'. What flavor Kool-Aid you get?
Purple.
I know the deal.
Okay.
Kayla over there giving you the thumbs down. She don't want none of that. None of that.
You should mix it with some lemonade next time.
I'm going back. I really like that place. It was nice.
An invite would have been nice,
Well, he invited us, but we was already eating someplace else. So he cut up.
Yep. I extended the invitations.
Next week. And so, but yeah, we have kind of adopted Joaquin. He's one of the cousins now.
Oh, yeah. I'm in the family.
Yeah. and Mama and Pam, that we done all adopted Joaquin. So he's part of our extended family. And this is what intentional community building is all about. You finding people, like-minded people who you have something in common with, that want to serve the same folks or serve the same communities that you're serving, and y'all link up. There's no competition here. We just want to do some good work together.
Man, it was so genuine too.
I mean, y'all came and got us because I wasn't in the session. Like I said,
so
these goofies, they came up there and they were super excited when they met Joaquin.
Let me run down what happened.
Okay, come on.
After our presentation where we lit it up, everybody was like, "Oh,
because Joaquin was in there asleep." Talk to him, Joaquin, before I started talking.
I was not asleep. I was updating my Facebook page with Google Eyelids. I was not asleep.
Google Eyelids,
dude, it's crazy.
I better start saying that though.
So,
Google Eyelids.
After that, after we had our thing, Brittany, who was a part of
Continuity Consultant.
Yeah, you said that. She came she came up to us. It was like, hey, we do this, and I think y'all will be so good with we should link. And then she told us that they were having their session the next day. So we went to their session. Sadly, Lorene was not in attendance. She missed out because it was great. It was like it was on par with ours. I don't know. Ours was kind of good, but that's not here or there. But they did their thing, and then after we went up to them and we were just talking, we talked for like an hour and a half in the space that, and we were just talking. The next thing you know, we go out to eat together. Then after we get out to eat, we was all riding scooters.
Not all of us. I was in the bed.
Oh yeah, she flaked, but we was riding scooters all throughout Long Beach.
Period.
And
like
so
hour and a half.
he say all that to say we family now, and we tend
First
to do
date.
that with folks in the community that we have a connection with. We all family, and so get connect and see why we are indeed a whole mood. because we continue to change the game. We continue to operate in our lane. We continue to not really compete with other people because at the end of the day, we all trying to serve the people, right? And so we just want to remind you, because we've run out of time today, that we are screening Black Panther
Wakanda
Forever this weekend. I'm sorry, this Friday at 6:00. If you want tickets, Joaquin, you coming?
I'll be in Truckee. We got a group going up from Glen County.
We love you anyway. But for all the rest of y'all that do want to come, we are we have a few tickets left. I mean, my watch keep going off. That means somebody's getting tickets. But if you're interested, 6:00 this Friday at Arden. Over in
Century Arden
area.
14.
Century Arden 14. And so we're ready, man. I'm ready to see it.
I'm getting ready.
I mean, it's always been Wakanda Forever on mine. Shout out to Killmonger.
You know, show them just like he said, show them who you are.
Shout out to M'Baku. Yeah.
That's your boo?
Oh yeah.
That's your boo.
I mean, the old one had to go. I mean, he died. So I mean, moving on. So
wow.
Yeah. Killmonger died. What am I supposed to do?
No.
You can't
come back.
Me personally,
right.
I wouldn't take it.
Wouldn't take what?
I wouldn't take that level of disrespect.
Well, what we're gonna
when
do?
Killmonger comes back.
What we're going to do is we're gonna watch this movie.
Yeah.
And we're gonna talk about it next Monday.
Trust me, we're gonna have a lot to talk about.
I'm excited, honestly.
I want to know the themes, the takeaways. I want to know what part made you emotional. So be paying attention to your feelings. I heard that I'm going to cry, and it don't take much.
No, you're gonna cry.
100%.
So I'm looking forward to it. So next week we will come
100%.
back and we will discuss Wakanda Forever. And I know Mama Margie went this weekend in celebration of her 82, Mama Margie?
Okay, per.
She dressed up and she had a whole little movie
I got an outfit
screening
too.
with the
So we're
fam.
Did y'all
coming
hear
in
about what
white.
happened at Thomas?
I'm not wearing white.
They had the
I'm wearing white.
They had the
Nope.
red carpet out there. And
Yeah, they
dancing
did.
in
They
the
did.
Thomas.
They had
So we need a red
hundreds
carpet
out there.
So we
Yeah.
We need a red carpet.
Can we get a black carpet?
Oh, period.
Can somebody find me a black carpet?
I will
for Friday?
right now.
Okay,
I
we gonna
find
have a
you
black carpet out there, and
shower
Kayla's gonna put something up there. Look at Kayla.
Strut.
Oh.
Walk,
Anyway,
walk.
we out.
Speed.
No way.
But wait, I'm not done. But I know I just got off track really quick, but I just want to lift up their names. They always say their names. So Lavelle Davis Jr., Deshaun Perry, and Devin Chandler were the young men that were lost at University of Virginia. I just want to send so much love out to them and their families. I'm sorry, their families and their friends who love them, because that is something that nobody wants to wake up to, knowing that they sent their babies off to college and they're coming back in a different way than which they left. So we just want to send love out to them. And with that, we're going to hit y'all with the wave. Catch us right here next week on Facebook and YouTube, 4:30 PST. Melissa's going to start us off with the wave.
Start it off.
Yep.
Start it off, Melissa. Do it. Come on, Joaquin. Do your thing. Hey, come on, Jada. Keela.
He did.
Jalen.
Why you remember the time? We don't know
that's what he said.
Bye, y'all. See you next week.
He was doing the Emperor's New Groove.